So here's just a quick review of Notes 3.7 that we did. Remember, there's the slower video if you need it from the original videos on the topics page. So here we had to recognize what a perfect square trinomial looks like, and we should be able to make a perfect square trinomial. So we recognize that this term here, the third term, is actually half of this term squared. So you take half of that term, which would be 4, the coefficient. 4 squared is 16. So that is a perfect square trinomial. If it's a perfect square, we can make it a perfect square. X, they're all plus signs. They're all plus signs here. So this is a plus sign because there are 2 plus signs. And 4. Now, how do I get that? I do the square root of that and the square root of that. And if you multiply x plus 4 times x plus 4 together, like we did already in class a number of times, you would get this trinomial. You would get the x squared plus 8x plus 16. So this one is a perfect square trinomial because if you take half of the 2 and then you square it, you get 1. So that's nice and convenient. We can make it into this, it almost looks like a vertex form, right, with a equal to 1. And we have this a in this case instead of x as a variable, plus 1. Okay, so likewise, these are perfect square trinomials. 81 is half of the negative 18 squared. So we get m minus, because it's a minus sign in the middle, and 9. And p minus 5, right? Squared. Okay, so here's the directions, but it's easier to just look at it. So we said that we take the constant term and move it over. We save it for later. We're dealing with just right now the first 2 terms, the x squared plus 4x. Leave yourself space. We will need some space here for the other parenthesis. Okay, now again, we want a perfect square trinomial, and we know that that's half the b term, and then square it. Half of the 4 is 2, and square it, and you get 4. Now, if you'd recognized from the beginning that this is already in the perfect square trinomial format, good for you. But if not, here's the process. So we added 4. We added 4 here. Since we add 4, we have to take away 4. So in this case, we end up with 0 over there, and we end up with x. They're all positive signs, so we keep the positive sign from the middle. And the square root of 4 is 2. So that's our function in vertex form. A is 1, h is hk, h is negative 2, and k is 0. Okay, but that one was already in. That one was already in that easy form. We kind of didn't have to add and subtract 4 to that. So I'm saying here we do, because I notice that 18 doesn't work for me. The number I really wish was there would be, stop the video if you can, if you're smart enough to get that. Divide the negative 8 by 2. Let's see, that's negative 4 squared, 16, right? We want 16 there. So x squared minus 8x, leave yourself space, move the plus 18 over, put the what we need there to make the perfect square trinomial, half of the thing, and then squared 16. We added 16, or 1 times 16. We added 16, so we're going to take away 16, which means that I've got my perfect square trinomial, x, the middle sign, minus, and the square root of the last term, the c term, and then we got 18 take away 16, which is 2. My h is 4, and my k is 2. That's my vertex. But this is my function, right, in vertex form. These are all equal to the original. Okay, so we look at this one and put the negative 5 over here. which I know it's not in perfect square form, so I'm actually going to do something here. It's not even, we need to get rid of the -1 because we need +1 here. So I'm going to divide the -1 out, okay? And I have the x and squared, and I have the 6. It's a +6, but if I get -6x, then yeah, that works because that times that is +6x, right? Okay, so, and whoops, I'm going to move that -5 over a little bit more. And I said I needed to save space for the perfect square trinomial. I think divide that by 2, I think, and square it, I think you get 9. And the square root of 9 is 3. The sign you want is in the middle. And that's -1 in front. Now, be careful. How do I get my k number? Well, we need to deal with that -5, but we added, or let's see, we have a +9 there, right? We had that +9 there. So actually it's a -9 because of the -1 in the front here. So it's a -9, so we're going to do a +9. Because we have to do the opposite. We can't just put a we can't just like go ahead and put a +9 there for no reason at all. That wouldn't be equal. Whoops. That wouldn't be equal to the original function up top. We can't just change it all over the place. So if we added 9 to that side of the equation, then we have to do the opposite. Actually, we subtracted 9 because you need to be careful and look at that, because when there's a number in front of the parenthesis, you have to multiply it through. When we put a +9 there, it actually is a -1 times a +9, which is a -9. So that's why we have a +9 over here. So -5 plus 9 should give you 4. Is that right? I believe so. +4. So your h is 3 and your k is 4. This one, let's put the 2 outside. X squared minus 6x. We need to complete the square. Move the +13 over there. I think completing the square again is a +9, just like it was on the other problem a minute ago. All right, because we already had this. Let's try to, this isn't working. +9, okay. All right, so we know that actually we know that 2 times the 9 is 18, so we added 18. We need to minus 18. That leaves us -5 for the k over there. And we've got here the x, the minus sign from the middle, and the 3, the square root of the 9. So that's my function in vertex form. And that's my hk is 3, -5. So this is how we do these, really. They're not hard. You just have to practice them a little bit. You can slow the video down if you need to. Here's one, okay? So if I see this, I'm going to divide by 4. Put the 4 in the front. X squared plus 2x, because 4 times 2. Whoops, leave some space. Plus 0 goes way over there. We don't need it. I'll just write 0 just to make it easy. Divide by 2 and square it. You get +1, and we already know that that is x. You keep the middle sign, and you put the square root of that last number, which is 1. This is our function. Whoops, we had a 4 in the front, right? Don't forget that 4. That'll mess you all up if you forget that 4. We need that right there. That's our function. And we had it there from the beginning. We just factored it out because that's what we need to do to get this into vertex form. And so we added 4 times 1. Since we added 4, we're going to subtract 4. So really we have -4 for our k. For our hk, we have -1 minus 4. Okay, so that's kind of, this one has -0.5. This one's a little trickier for those of you that want it and think you can do it. The honors pre-cal people here I'm talking to. You can factor the -1.5 out, and you have a x squared minus, no, plus 8x. Let's see if that works. Negative 1/2 times 8. Yeah, that's negative 4. Leave some space. Move the negative 5 over there. Half of 8 is 4. Squared, you get 16. We subtracted half of 16 is 8. We subtracted 8, so we get a plus 8. This leaves us negative 1/2 x plus 16. Square root of 16 is 4. Squared, don't forget it's a quadratic function. You forget that, it's the wrong function. 8 take away 5 is 3. Positive 3. My negative 4, 3 is my minimum or maximum. It's actually that's a good question. Is it a min or a max in this equation? And you should say that that's a max. That vertex is a max. Okay? So this is kind of what we did, and I don't think it's too hard once you practice it some more.